Well, this time around, Carl Kolchak comes across a Louisiana legend, which is my home state. It's where I am right now. So, of course, Louisiana's got, just like a lot of other places, it's got urban myths and legends and whatnot. And this might be connected. I'm not sure entirely of all of it, but there's the Honey Island swamp monster. It's supposed to be some sort of Sasquatch-like creature out there. And I don't know if it's connected to this legend of the Père Malfait, but essentially that's just a legend of a boogeyman type thing, which, again, there's like tons all over the world of stories of some sort of entity like that that's, frightens children to go to bed early and all that sort of stuff. The other one would be the loup-garou, which is essentially a werewolf, but it's a Cajun version of it. And there was a TV movie in the 70s that dealt with that, but I don't think there's ever been any other depiction or reference to this one, except for the Night Stalker. Now, I don't know how much of is it more owed to the Night Stalker than it is to any cultural myth born out of the past or what have you, but supposedly the elements thereof as what enables Kolchak to come out on top in this one as the only way he can. He survives, and then no one believes him, So yeah, I don't know which one is kind of like the werewolf overall. Is like it's more the Hollywood version of it dominates the legend and stories going forward, when in the original stories it didn't have anything to do with a lot of the stuff that came out of the Wolfman movie and stuff like that. It really, a lot of the elements of Wolfman stories is a complete Hollywood invention, just loosely based on the folklore. But anyway, so this one's called the Spanish Moss Murders, and essentially there's been these people getting murdered by some smelly, moss-covered, nasty, swampy monster. And of course, they're in Chicago, so what's it doing there? Well, eventually, Kolchak, of course, he's looking into this, and then one thing leads to another. And ultimately, he comes upon one of these weird experiments, I guess at a university, I forget exactly where, but they're doing a sleep deprivation study on this guy who volunteered for it, and they're keeping him asleep. And so he's been asleep for, I think, a couple of weeks or something. So he's been in a deep, deep sleep as they study him, and that sort of thing. But as it turns out, he and some friend of his, their background is in Louisiana, so they would talk about old stories and whatnot, and the Père Malfait is one that came up. And when one of the characters is acknowledging this, and that, well, there are a lot of these murders, it sounds a lot like that, or what have you. And so then the monster snatches that guy, so because he didn't want him talking, But then eventually it zeroes in on Kolchak himself, because Kolchak is gathering the elements of the story, and hey, what do I do? How do you stop a creature like this? And they come, you gotta stake him with a wooden spear, like thing, or stake, or what have you, very much like a vampire. And it's, I think it had to be wrapped in Spanish moss or something of that nature. Gee, I really should have paid more attention, because this might come up since I live here. And so, hey, where can you find something swampy? Well, he goes into the sewers, yes. And, well, lo and behold, there's the creature. And ultimately, yes, the prescription for how to deal with this entity turns out to be true. It works, and the monster is killed. Now, the interesting thing about it is that the monster exists only as, well, a figment of someone's imagination. But since this particular man was put in such a deep sleep, he was able to conjure out of thin air this fantasy or nightmare of his and bring it into reality. And ultimately, it kills him. He's dead. And they try to bring him out of the sleep, and so that'll at least stop the creature. They think, or at least that's what Kolchak thinks. But anyway, the guy dies, and so but the creature lives on. So it's living. I don't know if the suggestion would be that it absorbed the life force of this man. And now he dies while it takes his place as an entity in the world of living or what have you. But certainly it is this interesting thing of a folklore fulfills itself into reality just by the power of its story. And it would suggest that at some level, deep within the subconscious, I don't know, achieve godlike power where you can make things into reality that aren't. And boy, deep sleepers, they're really dangerous when their dreams come true. Well, even worse when their nightmares come true. So that was the interesting element to it. I don't know whereabouts it would be interesting. I don't know a whole lot of details of the background of this other than the the Louisiana folklore, but I don't think it had anything to do with your fears create the creature or anything like that. But it makes me wonder that they wanted something like this to come, and it could have been any kind of monster, and they stumbled upon this old folklore and said, yeah, let's do that, and that's what it became. But I don't know if they would have gone, well, we already did vampires, we did a werewolf, we've done a UFO, a zombie, yeah. And then, hey, wait, let's look for other stuff. And there's supposed to be this weird swamp monster in Louisiana. It's kind of like a Sasquatch or whatever. And okay, that'll work. And it's different enough that if we actually want to do a Bigfoot show, we can, because this was, he's different. He looks different and stuff. And he's in Louisiana. But now suddenly he's in Chicago. But, whatever. But maybe that's how they got there. And this is one of the ones where you actually get to see the creature such that it is. I mean, he's in the sewer, and you can understand when they say he already stunk to begin with, but now he's hanging out in the sewer. So, oof. And covered in all the, well, I was going to say crap, but I mean the moss and all that, And unfortunately, Kolchak got his standard suit, which I'm assuming he has plenty of those because he wears the same outfit every episode. So it must be, I would assume, different ones. But he got it filthy. So at the end, he's going over his final notes, which he records on his tape recorder. And but his suit looks like it's suddenly become a dark, dark gray. So hey, what an interesting new look for Kolchak, but all very brief. I'm assuming, again, that he just buys the same outfit over and over again. So he has tons of them in the closet at home. And this one, well, he's probably just going to have to get rid of that one. I don't know that you can ever get those stains out, no matter how much bleach. And even if you did, and perhaps the stench could get out. Of course, it was supernatural, so maybe not. But even if you did, boy, the psychological trauma would always link that stench imprinted on your brain, so you'd still smell it if you kept that around. So he probably, yes, got rid of it. That would be my... And the hat. So there again, he may have another little straw hat similar to that one, because this one, it's ruined. Yeah. So, there you go. No one will know except him what really happened. The other people might be suspicious of it, but the scientist that was conducting the sleep study was so freaked out about it. Yeah, he went back home to apparently work for his brother's car dealership or something. I don't know. Little note they put in there. It's it's funny. And there you go. So an interesting one, and especially to me, because it involved this Louisiana folklore legend. So there we go. It was a fun episode, and of course, largely due to the typical charm that's provided in Darren McGavin's performance. So there you have it. Another good episode of Kolchak, the Night Stalker.